up, guys? We're here at Montanari Brothers Powerhouse Gym, New Haven, Connecticut. It's Tuesday, January 28th. We're just inside of 5 weeks out from the Arnold Classic. Got arms and shoulders today. Hope you guys enjoy the workout. Let's check it out. What's up, guys? It's Evan Centopani. We're here in New Haven, Connecticut at the Montanari Brothers Powerhouse Gym. We're just inside now, 5 weeks out from the Arnold. It's Tuesday, shoulder day, shoulders and arms actually. So, as you can see in the workout, we start with shoulder presses. Now, first thing you notice is we're doing them standing as opposed to seated. And anyone who's ever done them standing instead of seated knows that it's significantly more difficult to, you're more likely to use more weight seated. You're stabilized, takes your back out of it, should be able to move significantly more weight. So why do them standing? Well, this is one of the movements that I feel is really valuable. Something that Oscar and I did a lot in our prep for New York, and he said it in a way that made perfect sense. He said, well, we're not necessarily trying to just isolate the shoulders so much as induce an effect on your entire body. Doing it standing, you're going to involve a good deal of your posterior chain, and aside from that, doing movements like this where you're standing, free weight, involving more muscles, you're going to burn significantly more calories, which makes it a valuable tool in pre-contest prep for getting in shape. Cardio is great, but doing things like this, I feel, during training, where you're on your feet, you're using free weights, things that are significantly more challenging that involve more muscles, I feel will help you to get in shape much more efficiently than if you simply rely on cardio and easier training. So, whereas maybe if I were seated, maybe I'd be using, upwards of 3 plates. You can see here I don't get above 2, and that for me feels pretty heavy. But it also, I feel like it gives you a great feeling in the shoulders as opposed to seated. For whatever reason, I get a great, even though I'm involving a lot more muscle groups, I get a more intense feeling in the shoulders themselves. So, whatever, I don't ask too many questions, I just roll with it. As a variation of this, I've done it before where, maybe we put a plate on or a plate and a quarter and do 10 sets of 10. Higher volume, maybe only a minute in between sets. And you'd be amazed. Really blows your shoulders out. And I actually feel like it's actually helped to put a little bit of size on my shoulders. Then again, I don't know if it's fair for me to say because, following the Olympia and most of the time following some shows, I try to scale back on my training for a bit and not spend as much time in the gym. And the two things that I usually cut are arm and shoulder training because for me they have a tendency to be more dominant. So I feel that those are two things that I won't kill me to leave out and not put as much time into. But when it comes time to prep for the show, I'm on them and I'm hammering them. And so maybe the added growth I see is maybe just putting back something that was possibly lost. But it's worth trying. After the standing barbell press, we move on to machine side laterals. Pretty much could accomplish a similar thing with using dumbbells. You get a really nice squeeze using the machine, and seeing as it is more of an isolation movement anyways. Just today, I decided to use the machine. Last week, it was dumbbells. So And again, it was a great feel. So it allows me to have a really strong mind-muscle connection, whereas sometimes with the dumbbells, you have a tendency to get a little bit preoccupied with trying to, sling the weight up. After dumbbell side, after the machine side laterals, moved on to upright rows. Upright rows, I think, is just a great movement. Period. It's a really different movement from all the different lateral movements you're going to do for your shoulders and the pressing movements. It's really unique in the way that it helps to hit the shoulders, and plus it does help to bring the traps into play a little bit. And again, it's one of those movements where you're doing it standing, you're involving a lot of different muscles, and I feel like it's one of those movements that helps to bring out condition. It's a good calorie burner. After this, we just go on and we finish with some rear delts. It was enough to pretty much toast my shoulders. And by the time we got to rear delts, they were pretty beat up. And you're gonna notice we do some dips. We did them actually twice during the workout. we do them at the end of shoulders to kind of make for the transition from shoulder training into some tricep training. And then we went back and we did them again at the end of arm training, just to tie everything in again. But dips I think are probably if I could only do one upper body movement, and it was something that I couldn't use weights. It had to be something, either push-ups or dips or pull-ups. I think you probably get the most bang for your buck with dips, because you hit your arms a lot. You got your shoulders in there. You got the chest, and because you're suspending your entire body weight, you're able to put the most amount of load on those muscle groups. Although I guess you could say, with pull-ups, you're doing the same because you can, suspend your body. Push-ups, you're not really able to do that, because you got your feet on the ground. When we move on to arm training, we started with rope extensions, and it's just I don't really like starting with a movement like skull crushers. Probably back 5-6 years ago, I would just go right into that. Now I feel like I need to be a little bit more careful around my elbows and get things a little bit more warmed up. And the ropes are a good way to do that. Get a lot of blood in there. As you can see, we do just a traditional type of push down / rope extension, and then we switch to a couple sets of doing them overhead. Both, I feel that doing them the conventional way, pushing them down, you're going to hit more of the outside part of the tricep, and then when I switch and I do them overhead, I usually feel it more on that inner head. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be. That's just how I feel. After we get them warmed up, come over, we hit the dumbbells for a couple sets of behind the head dumbbell extensions. And this is a movement I've done since the beginning. I feel like it's really effective. You get a real nice stretch in the tricep. Although I will say at times it's felt a little bit scary, and you hear a lot of stories about guys tearing a tricep, and a lot of times this is one of the movements that seems notorious for doing that. So I will say be careful. Make sure you warm up first, and if it doesn't feel right, maybe you wanna skip it. But it's always felt pretty natural to me, and again, I feel like this movement, I feel it more in the meat of my tricep, more on that inner head. So after a couple sets with these, I moved on to just another kind of overhead rope extension. It's almost like doing skull crushers with a cable. Same thing, good feel in the muscle. All right, now I know the reason why I couldn't think of the next tricep movement. It's because there wasn't another one. After we finished up triceps, we moved into, we went and grabbed some dumbbells and did some preacher curls for biceps. By this time in the workout, workout was getting a little bit long, and I felt like, probably two bicep movements would be sufficient. So probably the two that I felt would give me the most bang for my buck were the dumbbell preacher curls. We did a few sets of these. This is a great movement where if you have somebody that you train with, they can kind of push you through the remaining couple reps. And if you don't, if you're on your own, you can always kind of just reach down with your hand and give yourself some assistance. And after these, we moved on to just the regular old barbell bicep curls. Probably still, with the exception of maybe the dumbbell curl, I'd say it's probably between the dumbbell curl and the barbell curl for just, being the meat and potatoes bicep movement.
I didn't know that was you on here. That's your job, man. This ain't my job.
And my buys were pretty smoked by this point. As you could see, we didn't go above a quarter on the bar. Tried to keep the rest in between sets at this point down to a minimum. And as soon as Mark would go, probably give it a moment, and then I would go. And at this point, we're just finishing it off. And that's really all it took.
Do you always train your biceps like that, bud? Or some days you would more emphasis?
What we do is we'll switch between training biceps first and triceps first. And I would say probably whichever muscle goes first is probably going to get a little bit more attention. So on the weeks where we train biceps first, they'll probably get, maybe 3 movements, probably some type of isolation movement, probably a barbell curl, and some type of dumbbell movement, whether it's just a standing dumbbell curl, just something basic. But I don't, biceps aren't something I spend a ton of time on, or arms in general, because I feel like they get a lot of stimulation. I feel like your triceps get a lot of stimulation during your pressing movements, not only on shoulders, but on chest training. And then biceps, no matter how good you are at training your back, you're still going to involve them, with heavy back training. So that being said, I don't think, or at least only speaking for myself, I don't feel like they need to be annihilated. Same thing with shoulders. I don't feel like you need to spend an hour just training your shoulders, because they're going to receive a lot of stimulus during the rest of the week.